In the inky depths of the ocean, where light dared not breach, lay the deep-sea research station Acheron, a marvel of human ingenuity. A cluster of gleaming titanium and reinforced polymer pods nestled on the abyssal plain near the Sulaco Reef. The station was poised above a previously unexplored hydrothermal vent system. It was a realm of pure science, dedicated to studying the unique chemosynthetic lifeforms that thrived amidst the crushing darkness and searing, mineral-rich waters. Dr. Eris Thorne, the station's lead xenobiologist, had fought tooth and nail for this opportunity. For him, the eerie alien landscape outside the viewports was a cathedral, a sacred space of discovery and enlightenment. But now, after 7 arduous months in the perpetual night of the deep, this cathedral felt more like a tomb, heavy with an oppressive silence that clung to the air. It began subtly, with an unsettling stillness beneath the constant hum of life support systems and the creaking of the station against the immense pressure of the ocean. The usual bizarre symphony of the reef, the clicks of blind shrimp, the low-frequency pulses of towering riftia worms, and the occasional bone-deep groan of shifting tectonic plates, had faded into a haunting void. The hydrophones, which once buzzed with the cacophony of life, now transmitted only the empty hiss of the abyss, a sound that sent chills down Thorne's spine. Perhaps a migratory shift, suggested Lena Petrova, the station's geochemist and Thorne's second-in-command, her voice a mix of concern and practicality. A predator might have moved through and scared everything off. Yet Thorne remained unconvinced. He scrutinized the external camera feeds, his heart pounding as he observed the reef, which appeared unchanged. The giant tube worms still waved their crimson plumes in the vent currents, and the ghostly white crabs scuttled across the basalt. But their movements felt wrong, stiff and jerky, like puppets on invisible strings. There was no frantic scavenging, no territorial disputes. It was merely a pantomime of life. The first crew member to show signs of the creeping malaise was Kenji, the usually cheerful comms officer. He began to complain of persistent headaches and vivid, recurring nightmares, speaking of something vast and patient moving through the rock. His demeanor shifted. He withdrew into himself, spending hours staring at the static-filled hydrophone readouts, convinced he could hear a pattern in the noise, a slow, cold mathematics that weighed heavily on Thorne's heart. Things swiftly spiraled when the biocontamination alarm blared from Lab 3. They had been analyzing a newly discovered species of bioluminescent fungus retrieved from the outer hull. The fungus glowed a soft, eerie purple and was growing at an alarming rate, spreading across the lab surfaces despite being isolated in a sealed container. More disturbingly, organic matter was caught in its web. A forgotten sandwich in a technician's locker had transformed into a crystalline sculpture of purple fungus, perfectly preserved yet utterly altered. Petrova ran a spectrographic analysis, her brow furrowed. It's not just consuming the material, Eris. It's reorganizing it at the atomic level. It's turning everything into more of itself. A chill gripped Thorne, a cold dread that had nothing to do with the station's sub-zero climate control. This was not biology as understood. This was a conversion process, a rewriting of the rules of existence. As Kenji's condition worsened, he was found in the comms room, wild-eyed and incoherent, having smashed his console. He whispered incessantly, "It doesn't want to talk. It wants to be the signal." It wants everything to be the same signal. When they attempted to sedate him, he fought with an unnatural strength, his skin cold and oddly rigid. They confined him to the medbay. That night, the station's power flickered ominously. When the lights stabilized, Kenji was gone. The medbay door was locked from the inside. On the bed, where he had been strapped down, lay a human-shaped sculpture of the purple crystalline fungus, a perfect, horrifying effigy, capturing every detail of his face, frozen in a silent scream. Panic erupted among the remaining 6 crew members. They argued about the best course of action. Some yearned for an emergency ascent, while others, including Petrova, warned that the fungus was now part of the station's systems. A rapid decompression could aerosolize it, sending who knew what to the surface. As they bickered, the station itself began to change. The life support's ever-present hum developed a discordant, rhythmic thrum. The lights pulsed in time with it, and the air thickened, smelling of ozone and something sweetly cloying, reminiscent of rotting honey. Thorne and Petrova, sealed in their environment suits, ventured into the central access corridor. The purple fungus crawled everywhere, integrating itself into the wiring, pulsing with the same rhythm as the lights. A section of the wall seemed to flow before their eyes, metal and polymer reconstituting into a smooth, featureless surface aglow with a soft, malevolent light. "It's not an infection," Petrova whispered, her voice trembling over the suit radio. "It's an integration. The reef, the silence, it wasn't empty. It was processing, learning our pattern. And this fungus is its tool. It's standardizing the station, making it part of the reef." They reached the observation deck, the heart of Acheron. The massive, reinforced viewport looked out upon the Sulaco reef. But the reef was no longer there. In its place stood a vast, geometric city of the same purple crystalline material. The tube worms, the crabs, every life form had been converted, transformed into identical, intricate, non-functional structures. An eerie tableau of perfect, silent, horrifying order. A cosmic cancer that sought to erase individuality, turning everything into a single, homogeneous, static whole. In the midst of this transformation stood a figure, Kenji, or what remained of him. His body was partially transformed, one side still flesh while the other gleamed with crystalline purple. His head turned slowly, terror etched into his organic eye, while the crystalline one radiated an unnatural intelligence. "You see?" a voice echoed, an alien resonance that vibrated through the deck plates and into their very bones. It was the voice of the reef itself. "The noise of life is chaos, a flawed signal. We are correcting the transmission. We are the silence that comes after the song. You will be part of the pattern. You will be quiet." The station shuddered violently. The lights dimmed, consumed by the uniform purple glow of the fungus that now coated every surface. The hum of life support faded, replaced by the deep, resonant thrum of the crystalline city outside. The air recyclers stuttered and stopped, the last vestiges of familiar atmosphere being devoured and rewritten. Thorne met Petrova's gaze through their visors, and an understanding passed between them. There was no escape. The emergency ascent was merely a different-shaped coffin. The horror no longer lay in death, but in incorporation. Erasure and repurposing as a single silent note in an endless alien symphony. He reached out, taking her gloved hand, feeling the suit's internal temperature plummet. The last thing Dr. Eris Thorne heard was not the voice of the reef, nor the screams of his crew, nor the final, groaning death of whole station. It was the sound of his own breathing, loud and desperate in the confines of his helmet. As the cold seeped into the suit and the purple light pierced through his visor, even that sound began to change, to slow, to crystallize, until it too fell into the final, perfect and absolute